Since the return of TrueTan Wrestling, we've covered crazy roller coaster weight classes that are still going pretty crazy, by the way. Heck, we've even covered crazy situations with individuals. But today, we're going to cover a wild Mad Hatter of a team. A team that has won 2 NCAA trophies in the past 5 years, along with being one of the few teams to win it all at the NCAA tournament. That last fact did indeed happen back in 1988, but the fact still stands. The team in question is the Pac-12, soon-to-be Big 12 Power 5 team, Arizona State. It was no shock to anyone when America's famous wrestler Zeke Jones took over the program all the way back in 2015. People knew it wouldn't take too long before they returned to their power. That fact sort of rang true with their first finish being in 29th place at the NCAA tournament, before having a few top 20 finishes leading into the canceled COVID year. The team for sure still had some individual success at the time, with Zahid Valencia gaining a title for them, along with a few other All-American honors. However, after the COVID season, the team really seemed to find its form, taking home 2 fourth place finishes at the NCAA tournament in 2021 and 2022. They would also finish in 7th this past year in 2023, but finishing in the top 10 is no easy feat for any team. At the end of the day, Arizona State was going to lose some, return some heavy hitters, get some big guns back in the lineup, along with bringing in some very high-level recruits. However, after starting the season 3-4 in duels and starting some very questionable lineups, it leaves Arizona State fans wondering, what is wrong with Arizona State wrestling? If that question is on the top of your mind, leave a comment, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and let's get into it. The start of the season for the Sun Devils started in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania with Wranglemania. At this event, ASU would wrestle Lock Haven in North Carolina. They would win their opening duel versus Lock Haven 23-18 before dropping their final match of the day 22-16 to UNC. This event pointed out a lot of holes for ASU's lineup and opened the floor up for a ton of questions. This opening weekend resulted in the Sun Devils losing Jesse Vasquez at 141 and Ja'Cory Teamer at 157 due to injuries. Vasquez has yet to return into the fold since this opening weekend, which is really not promising, but I hope he makes a full recovery. Teamer, on the other hand, did eventually return to the lineup, so we'll talk more about him throughout this video. It's also good to see him back in college wrestling after he had a season-ending injury last year. Julian Klebo is coming off of having a great summer, making the U23 World Team, and stepping in for multiple-time All-American graduate Michael McGee at 133. Another missing piece of the puzzle was Richie Figueroa, who was also behind a multiple-time All-American in Brandon Courtney. Figueroa was a high-level recruit that so many people were excited to see. Last year, he beat a soon-to-be national finalist at CKLV, but ever since then, we really haven't seen him compete. However, Arizona State wrestling fans would have to wait a few more weeks before he would make his debut because he was not here in Bethlehem. Colin Schultz was also missing, but he was training for the US Open and has since returned for the Sun Devils. Kind of makes you wonder why Schultz wouldn't just take an Olympic redshirt, considering the trials are like right after NCAAs, but maybe he's ready to be done with school or something like that, who knows. Then there was just some really interesting moves for the Sun Devils that almost make you wonder if they knew they were going to have some holes heading into the summer. For starters, Tony Negron is up from 165 last year to 184. He's having an alright year though right now with a 10-6 record, but just an interesting bulk job for him and the team. This made room for apparent 165 starter Chance McLean, who is a junior technically, but until this season, the most he's ever wrestled in a season was like 5 matches, with him already doubling that total this year, which I guess is good to see. Also, don't get me wrong, I love seeing guys step into the lineup and try to make a name for themselves, but it's really odd that they have Nico Ruiz staying in Redshirt, even though he's given Mitchell Messenbrink, the world beater right now, his toughest match all season. But we'll cover some of these Redshirts in a little bit. Then at 174, there is Kale Valencia, who was another top tier recruit who is just having a really tough career right now, but he's more than likely their best option at 174 at the time being. Max Wilner was also wrestling at 174 during this season, but he's been at 157 in past years. However, he's 3-1 on the year, so maybe they're trying to find a spot for him at either 165 or 174, but that's pure speculation. Now, I guess to stop being a Debbie Downer, this opening weekend wasn't all bad for Arizona State. They went 1-1 in duels, yes, but they also had Kyle Parko really shine with a 2-0 start to the season. However, their next dual meet and CKLV really put them down on display. They would travel to Missouri, where they would lose 39-6, only winning 2 matches that they were favored in, along with not having some very key players in their lineup. At CKLV, they would finish in 14th place with two placers and Parko for third, and Teamer making the finals before dropping his match to Peyton Robb. But ultimately, it was just nice to see Teamer back and healthy so soon. The season wouldn't get much easier for them with the team traveling to Midlands, where Ja'Cory Teamer would take home a title, but again, there was some down performances and very interesting occurrences. Ty Whalen, who is turning out to be a really good gray shirt right now for Princeton, knocked out Parko on the top side of the bracket, and then Parko would have to unfortunately medical forfeit out of the tournament. Schultz was still not in the fold for Arizona State. Figueroa was finally entering in the mix, but was coming off a Jory Volk loss at Reno, and then he would get hurt at Midlands and unfortunately miss another stretch of the season. Ultimately, Arizona State would finish in 11th place, once again not sending what most people would think is their best lineup. At 197, top recruit and what appeared to be their heavyweight backup at the time, Damian Shunk, even dropped to 197, which should have been a great spot for him and the team, but it didn't seem to really work out at Midlands, so maybe it was just a little too much of a weight pull for him. The season kept rolling for Arizona State with another Power 5 matchup in Iowa State, where they would again lose, but there was a few interesting notes. Ja'Cory Teamer would drop another match to true freshman star Cody Chittum. Not sure if Teamer was still getting his legs under him after break, Chittum is just that good, or just a little bit of both. True freshman Caleb Larkin would also step in for an injured Parko at 149 to get a quick first period pin over Zach Redding. This was really cool to see because I always love when coaches utilize that true freshman 5 dates rule, but it also showed what Larkin's power and his potential impact could really be. Larkin, about a month prior, also won the Bill Farrell at the senior division, which that statement alone is nuts considering he beat guys like Jesse Mendez, Pat Lugo, and Matthew Kolodzik. I understand all these matches were in freestyle, yes, but the level of wrestler he's already beating is just insane. Clearly a nice pickup for the Sun Devils, but unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, it looks like he'll be under Kyle Parko for at least one more year, which in my opinion really isn't the worst thing in the world considering it gives him another year to focus on the Olympic trials, plus one more year to develop under a multiple-time All-American, so it's almost a win-win. Now trucking a little forward into Arizona State's season, it appears they are still struggling with their most recent loss to Little Rock, which, hey, shout out to Little Rock, to be honest. That's an awesome win for them, and they've been doing great things down there, but this video is about Arizona State, so let's keep moving in that direction. This result and Arizona State's current season really got me thinking. With the class of redshirts they currently have and the class coming in, could this be a type of punt year for ASU? Or is it just a down year full of injuries? They have Caleb Larkin, who appears to be the 149 after Kyle Parko leaves, unless he uses his last year of eligibility next season, which in that case, one of them might be ready to bump up to 157 with Teamer being done after this year. They'll have Nico Ruiz out of redshirt, who is more than likely going to be the guy at 165 for next season, along with top recruit Pearson Manville entering into the fold after his high school season this year. Another real weird one for me is Emilio Yusagaran, who they were real quick to pull his red shirt last year after an awesome Brock Hardy win in Nebraska, but now it just seems like they're keeping him in the wing, which more points to them loading up for next year. Also gives a little bit of hope that maybe Vasquez is coming back, which could really help them for some of their end of the season duels. At the end of the day, the season isn't over for Arizona State. There's still a good 2-ish months left of the season, but I think we all can agree Arizona State has just been a roller coaster of a wrestling team to follow. They have injuries holding them back, weight classes with major question marks that might never get answered this season, and just some holes that might take a year or two to even fix. Overall, my opinion is they're just a little inconsistent. I mean, they lost to Little Rock one day, and then in the same weekend they beat Pitt, who beat Ohio State. Like, what? Ultimately, I hope they figure it all out, and I have confidence they will moving forward because it's really cool to see a team like that enter back into the trophy hunt after so many years, and I really don't want to see them drop back out again. Also, when more teams are great, the sport's just more fun and appealing to watch. Overall though, if you agreed, disagreed, or have completely different thoughts than me, feel free to leave it all in the comment section below, along with letting me know what you think Arizona State's potential is moving forward. This is a really fun video to make. I love covering teams outside the Big Ten or the generic big dogs just because they get all the love anyway, so it's fun to make videos like this. If you agree with that statement, feel free to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and with all that said, thank you all very much for supporting and watching TrueTan Wrestling. Take care, everybody.